Well, hello everybody. I'm in another Mercedes loaner. I'll talk about why in a second. Over there, that's the C300 I had as a loaner last time. If you could believe it. Had the same license plate and everything, so that's how I knew. And it was the same color. And there's the Audi dealership I bought my Q4 e-tron from. Looks like they got a couple cars charging Q6 and A6 e-tron right next to each other, same color. Pretty nice. But yeah, so the reason I'm in this car is because when I picked up the GLC, I'm not sure if you guys caught this, but I sure did. They messed up the alignment because the steering wheel was a little off center and to the right, and it was not like that upon taking it in. So they messed that up, so I took it back and they're going to fix it. And now I have a new 2025 CLA250 loaner, and just like the C300, this also has a gas particulate filter, and the AC should be on 72, not low. There we go. Synchronize, and the airflow, there we go. I really wish this were fully automatic climate control like it used to be in Mercedes cars, because I don't really agree with having to adjust the airflow speed when you have it on auto. But to each their own. We do have a full tank of gas, and that's how I'm going to return it. But yeah, it's not a bad little car. I mean, I wanted to see the new CLA for a while now, because most of the time I've gotten a GLB as a loaner, and that's a good car, but it feels like a tank. Whereas this, I mean, this is pretty cool because this has the AMG flat bottom steering wheel, and it's not an AMG car, so it might have an AMG package of sorts. But yeah, it does have the same cruise control layout, so you press in for a 5 mile an hour increase or decrease, and you swipe up or down for 1 mile an hour. Alright, I'll catch you guys when I get the GLC back, or maybe I'll make more video clips with this car, whatever the choice. So I was playing around with the menus for a little bit, and I cannot believe that this car has the exact same instrument cluster for sport as the C300 I most recently drove as a loaner. That's pretty cool. Also gives that a nice red theme too, just like the C300. Very, very cool. I mean, I've said it already in my review of the C300, but this is an instrument cluster straight out of the future. Like, this is the coolest instrument cluster you can get in a vehicle that is not a Lamborghini or some other type of supercar, or an AMG Mercedes, of course. But yeah, you get the point. I noticed this does not have adaptive cruise control, so that's gonna take some getting used to. I'm used to that in my car and all the loaners I've gotten as of late, but this doesn't have it, and I'm not sure if it has automatic high beams either, but that should be alright. I don't think I'll have this for more than a day. So, I also noticed dynamic select is now a button as opposed to an up and down switch or left or right for the C300. But yeah, you push once. So now it's in eco mode. You can also use the touch screen. So comfort, eco, sport, individual. Pretty much the same layout as the C300. CLAs, other than the AMG models, never had Sport Plus. But yeah, this is very interesting. Yeah, it does have that pesky gas particulate filter, but you know, it was inevitable that gas cars were going to get those too. That's why I'm glad I own an EV, so I don't have to deal with any of that emissions nonsense. Well, I snaked you guys. It does have automatic high beams, and they were just turned off. So when the automatic lights came on when I drove into the garage, I just pushed this forward and it turned on the automatic high beams. So, yep. I didn't see a menu for it in the settings when I looked, so that's why I thought it probably doesn't have this feature, but it does, which I think is awesome for a rather entry-level Mercedes. Alright, so just drove this thing on the highway earlier. It's not as comfortable as the C300, but it is more engaging. And check that out, that's a Huracan Evo. And I just talked to the owner of that vehicle. He's super nice. He is not an automotive YouTuber, but I say he made a great choice buying that car. And I told him about how I've driven Huracans on track before. So yeah, friendly Lamborghini owner just showed up to Oak Brook Center in a Huracan Evo, which is pretty sick. It's Verde Mantis. It's got carbon fiber as well, both on the mirrors and on certain other trim pieces, like the back right there where that third brake taillight is, just where the wing mounts. But yeah, overall this CLA250 is not a bad car. I just wish it didn't have that gasoline particulate filter, which is exactly what I said about the C300 as well. But can't win every time, so I get it. But yeah, it also does have red stitching, and I may have said the C300 reminds me of the Civic Si I used to own. This does even further, and that's because not only of the red stitching, but also these cool bucket seats and the 8-speed DCT. So this does not have a 9-speed automatic. It has an 8-speed DCT, which is an upgrade from the previous CLA's 7-speed DCT, which is probably also why this feels more engaging. And then if I pop it into sport mode here, that'll really open it up. I'm just waiting for gap in traffic here. I'm gonna get back onto the highway and head on home. So it's been a couple hours. I have not heard anything from the dealer yet, but I'm sure they'll find the issue with the steering being off-centered. But check this out. Yep, it's no slouch. It is no slouch. And these paddle shifters feel very nice too. I like that they're these I like that they're the metal paddle shifters rather than plastic. And this is in part thanks to that AMG steering wheel. But yeah, overall, Mercedes is not making bad cars. They're making awesome cars. And I like that they're all including this futuristic sport display. And I actually figured out what this red ring is for. This is to simulate your tachometer. So the higher you get into the rev range, the closer this gets to this red band, which is your red line. Obviously the tachometer in this is in this display is numerical readout. But yeah, as you can see, it just went into auto start stop. So the ring went completely into the tunnel, if you will. That's what it looks like. Looks like a tunnel. G-force meter, oil temperature, and boost pressure for your turbocharger. Exactly the same layout as in the C300 when you put the display in sport. I'll also note there's no trackpad here, so everything is pretty much done through the touch screen. So something to get used to. You only have the one choice versus either use the touch screen or the trackpad, whatever you're more comfortable with. Or you could use the right side swipe control, So I lied. There are 2 ways to operate this. There are 3 in the other vehicles. But yeah, I've floored this thing a couple of times. It sounds pretty well, despite having a gasoline particulate filter. That's one thing Mercedes is good at, is they're good at making cars that don't sound like vacuum cleaners and aren't too quiet, even though they have a GPF. So yeah, it's pretty awesome what Mercedes-Benz can do, and who better than the first car company ever founded, I should say. Alright, I'm gonna get onto the highway, so I'll catch you guys later. I got a call from the Mercedes dealership earlier, and what in the tarnation do we have here? What do we have? A customer declined all repairs and drove away from the shop kind of customer? Wow. That is unsafe. Like, that car should not be on the road. Bro. How is that car still on the road? Like, look, everything is just out. Everything is just out of spec on that car. Wow. As I was saying, Mercedes dealer called me, so it's time to go give this back, get our GLC back. The alignment has once again been fixed, as it was out of alignment leaving the dealer when we had asked to get an alignment done. So how funny is that? But luckily I caught it and got it fixed. So yeah, top this off with gas. This does get pretty good gas mileage. Seems to have a small gas tank though, which is why I was able to use a quarter of the tank in not even one day, just driving this around. But yeah, at least it gets good gas mileage, so it doesn't matter that it doesn't have a big fuel tank, because it's the entry-level Mercedes. But yeah, I mean, for an entry-level Mercedes, at least with this specification, it's not bad. Like, you're getting a lot of car for your money, but at the same time, I hate that newer gas cars are being fitted with a particulate filter for emissions. Because while it is better for the environment, it has negative effects on engine lifespan, especially if you don't do your proper maintenance. But yeah, I mean, I like this car. It's pretty cool. Definitely feels a lot more engaging, as I've said before, than the C300. Does not feel like an S-Class like that C300 did, but, you know, does remind me a lot more of the Civic Si I used to own, just with a transmission that shifts itself rather than 3-pedal manual transmission. Because this is DCT, it's not a true automatic. But obviously it does have an automatic mode. And it does, you know, when you're driving on the highway, it does rev a little higher than the C300 due to that lack of the 9th gear. But that's fine. I mean, it gets good gas mileage anyway, and like I said, it helps the car to feel more engaging, so that way if you need to accelerate, you have that power under your foot. So, I should also note that it seems like we're going to be getting storms today, but I'll catch you guys when we get to the dealer. So I just checked the weather forecast, and evidently this county is under a tornado warning. So this would be Kane, because we're in St. Charles, and obviously St. Charles is in Kane County. tornado warning in effect until 4:30. Very interesting how that happened as I'm driving to the dealer. So instead of just going home, I might have to take shelter until 4:30. But oh well, that's life, especially in the summer. You never know what can happen. Well, just got to the dealer, and that's our car right there. They just parked it outside. Very interesting, to say the least. But yeah, I'll just drive this in and shut her down and go get the keys and get out of here. Once the tornado warning passes, of course. Alright, tornado warning's expired. GLC is back, and they fixed the alignment issues. I'll go ahead and crank her over. Just like I said in the last update video on this car, it is good to be back in a non-GPF gas car. And that AC blows ice cold. Well, I think that's pretty much going to conclude this video. And in case you were wondering, yes, it was free of charge, because obviously this is something that was messed up on their end, not ours. And yep, those clouds look mean. So just because the warning's expired doesn't mean there isn't a tornado warning somewhere else in Illinois. But yeah, how about that? Catch you on the next video.